All right, I think, Shea, let's get started. Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. This is Scott at Cornerstone. Shea is going to be doing most of the talking today, but glad you could join us, and we'll spend about a half an hour talking about our mobile app rolled out middle of last year. Just a quick overview of what the app does if you haven't seen it. Basically, we built this to allow our customers to access their appointments and service tickets. So it's a field service app. They can use the app, as Shea will show you, to do texting or emailing to give customers a heads up. Hey, I'm 20 minutes away. Updates on the appointment. Techs can clock in and clock out, both for the day and for each job. The tech can retrieve the parts they need for the installation of the service call. They can add labor hours to the job, obviously through the clock in, clock out. At the end of the job, they can close out the ticket and immediately create the invoice if they have the permissions to do so. And finally, maybe most important, they can take payment on the spot from the customer. So no chasing after receivables like anybody that comes to my house to do some technical work. When they walk out the door, they've been paid, and our industry should be no different. So with that, Shea, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Excellent. Thank you, Scott. And let me go ahead and share my screen here. We are going to be hosting this directly from a cell phone to give you a real world use of the mobile app today. To start, we're going to go ahead and log in. And to do that, all you'll need is your 2-digit company code, your user ID, and your password. And you can have it remember you if you'd like.
I'm going to just interrupt quickly, Shea. I think it'll help everybody on the call to maximize your screen. So in the Teams window top right, there's a little box, just maximize so you can see what Shea's doing.
Perfect. Thank you, Scott. So now that we've logged in, the first thing that's going to pop up at the top is our time cards. With this app, you do have the ability to track time cards in a couple different ways. The one here is generally for a normal pay period. They clock in, the technician will clock in at the beginning of the day and clock out at the end of the day. But as you will see when we enter a service ticket, you are able to clock in and clock out for that particular job. That will allow you to track labor through reporting or bill for labor if you're using hourly. To clock in, it's very easy to do. I simply click clock in. I choose my category. In this case, we're just going to do a service. You could have it say pay period, inspection, whatever you need it to say for your company. I'm going to have it start right now at 12:04 Eastern. And if I needed to, I could add any notes. So if it was any overtime or why am I clocking in on this particular time, you could add a note there. I'm going to leave it blank in this case and go ahead and clock in. Now doing so has jumped it over to the clock out, and I can see my clock in time is at 12:04 p.m. Below this, I can see my events for the day. I can see that 8 to 12, I'm with Ross Construction. 12 to 2, I'm with the Regal Beagle. And from 2 to 6, I am at the Spencer Reed account. I can look at this a few different ways as well. I can also click on the events sandwich above. And this will show me the events in a similar way, but it'll give me a little more information. It'll show things, as you can see at the top for Ross Construction, address, description of the service required, a button to link to, in this case, Google Maps for my Android, the technician assigned, and the ticket number. So I can see a little more information. I can also hash this out a few different ways. Say I'm the owner who wants to see several different technicians, for example. I can click filter. I can go to all and say I want to look at everyone's schedule, click apply, and I could choose open close tickets, the town that it's in. So if I want to look for certain installs in certain towns or certain service codes, or even show my unassigned tickets. Maybe you had a service appointment cancel. You want to see which ones are unassigned because you can handle it or someone can handle it. Now that I've looked at all text, I can say apply. My filter button is turned orange. And now I can see that myself, ST's at 10 o'clock at Ross Construction, but I can also see at 9 o'clock, one of my other technicians is at Monk's Cafe, the Lucy Ricardo residence, another one for the Regal Beagle, and so on and so forth. So I'm able to see all the different jobs with description going on for today. We'll go ahead and reset that just to myself. For myself personally, I can also look through the calendar through day events like this, weekly like this. They're yellow because they are service tickets. If they were appointments, like a sales appointment or a walkthrough appointment, not an install, for example, they would be blue. But in this case, they're all service. So I can see them here. And then finally, I can look at my month view. So let's say I needed to take Friday the 13th off because I'm very superstitious. I could see if there's any events there that needed to be either moved or if I can't because there's too much going on. The hamburger in the upper left also allows me to jump around to a few different things on the main screen. So first is our dashboard where we started, calendar where we just were. I can also look up customers quickly for some basic information. So if I look up Ross for Ross Construction, it'll show up here. And I can open this up and see some customer details such as account number, name, address, city, state, and zip, directions to site, phone numbers if I needed to make a call to this customer but didn't have their number on file. I can also see if they have an open balance, any restrictions, when they came online, central station numbers, equipment, and special service instructions. Below that, I am able to view my quotes. So any quotes in the system, whether they are a template or they are one that is in the process or being built, I can see all of them here. And I can also go into them. So if I go ahead and look at Fred and Ethel Mertz, I can see things like email the quote, accept the quote, turn it into a service ticket. The kebab in the right, I can look at quote items or get a signature for the quote. And then down here, I can also see any key information for contacts and the status that this quote is at. Lastly, I am able to see my time cards. I don't have any listed here right now, but what it would show is the clock in and clock out times for any other times, let's say in that week that I've clocked in and clocked out, so I can see my time cards. Going back to the main dashboard, we're now going to enter into a service ticket and walk through some of the different pieces that are available to a technician out in the field using Cornerstone's mobile app. And we're going to use Ross Construction for 8 to 12 for this example. First thing you'll see at the top, again, is our clock in and clock out. So I'm going to go ahead and clock in for the job. This category is preset to service. We're going to start at 12:08 Eastern. I could put in starting mileage or notes if I needed to. I'm not going to in this case. I don't need to. So I'm just going to go ahead and clock in. And now I'm clocked into this ticket. So now it is tracking my time as a technician while I'm there servicing the job for, again, a couple things that we talked earlier, tracking them through reporting, seeing how long a job took, or even using billing if you're billing hourly. At the top, first thing you'll see there is the list of service items. If I click on there, it's going to show the items that were assigned to the ticket on the desktop software in the office. From here, I can do a lot of different things. I could add items if I needed to. So say I needed to pull a part off of my truck. I can add text if I wanted to add a note in here. For example, use 20 feet of wire, charge the customer $10. You could put that in there. For the parts that are already listed here, I can also edit information on them if needed. So if I click my pen and pencil on the right side, I can edit the service item. And I can say I needed more quantities. If the unit price needs to change, is it taxable? Or any notes that are perhaps tied to this part. Could be as simple as needed to pull a second one, original communicator was non-functioning, but I could add that in. Before we continue, I will say one note. Everything that we are showing here today is for a mobile app that is completely open for a technician to do everything they need to do. You can tailor this down using user-definable fields in the software to limit what a certain person needs to do or can do. So just think of it as being wide open. Continuing on, we can see things like the ticket number, the date, the technicians assigned to it, in this case myself, start and end time, service, PO and reference, dispatch status, and the date completed once it's completed. You can also see customer information. I do have a map on the right side that would open my Google Maps to get directions to the site. So I can see the account, city, state, zip, name of the company. I have contact numbers if I do need to call the customer. I can click on that phone and it'll link to my phone app on my phone. You can see central station, equipment and central station number. I also can see balance due. I will show you where in a second you actually can take payment through this mobile app for either your service Or if you're doing a simple meeting with that customer and you see a balance available, you could run it for that. In this case, their $43.97 is their monthly monitoring that's just due for this month. Finally, I can see my service requested. In this case, we're out doing a 4G upgrade and replacing the panel battery due to it being a little old. I have directions to the site, and I have special service instructions, so I can see for my ticket that Bob Ross must be on the site for any service work for Ross Construction. He needs to be there. Finally, I can see things such as my appointment service history. It looks like ticket 116 was scheduled, completed on the April 5th to install a new system. And when I open that up, it's going to show some basic information on the ticket, the service performed, description, when it was completed, etc. This information can be tailored and edited if needed. All I need to do is click my pen and pencil on the right side, and I can do things like change the technician, start and end time, service code, dispatch status, date completed. Although if you complete it through the app, it would add that in automatically. Service performed, ticket notes, and internal notes. Service performed and ticket notes will show up on the final ticket or invoice. Internal notes would stay internal. You can do talk to text through this app, so service performed. I could go to service performed, click my microphone, completed 4G upgrade, save it, let it load in here. And now if I go down, service performed, completed 4G upgrade. So it's very easy for your technician to dictate right to the app exactly what service needed to be done. To the upper right, we do have a kebab here. And when we click on that, it opens up a lot more that I can do on the service ticket with the customer. Top two are communications. First one being to text the customer. So I could text Bob Ross, and I can set up key phrases, default phrases that I want my technicians to use. So I could do arriving, and it'll say that your technician is arriving shortly. Could also say that we are on site. So in this case, if Bob Ross needs to be there and he's not there, you could send him a quick predetermined message to let him know that you're on site. You could also type in a message if you need to. When texting, this number will come from a simple 5-digit number, similar to if you get a Verizon message or some kind of salesman message. The customer, can reply to this. However, it will not go back to that exact technician. You can assign it to a single phone for it to come back to. That's designed so that your customers don't get personal information for your technicians. I can also email the customer, and for the same idea, there's my bross@rossconstruction.com. I can set up default phrases. So I have simple ones here like we need to cancel. So if they prefer to get an email over a text message, or perhaps they haven't provided a cell phone but provided an email, you can send them an email as well. Pardon me. I can also look at my service items through this list, which we've looked at already. I can take signatures in the field, whether before or after or multiple times throughout. I can always go in and do the signature, but we can make sure that you can make sure that your customer signs off on the job being completed. I can add photos. So if I want to take a picture of the new battery in the panel in this situation, or if it's a new install where that panel might be, or for any key information you need for future service work, you can take that photo and it will save to Ross Construction's account through the service ticket and will save on the ticket as well. Invoice, so that's where I would generate my invoice once this job is complete, and we're going to take a look at that in a second. Alarm pay portal, that links directly to our alarmpayments.com site. I apologize, not sure what's going on there, but it would load into our alarmpayments.com site, open up automatically because you are logged in as the customer, and show any open invoices for them. So that $43 or so for monitoring, you could go right in and say, while I'm on site here, notice you still owe us your monthly monitoring. Do you want to take care of that? They say yes, you can have them pay on site. It should show an equipment list for you. So I can see here is the equipment that is on site at Ross Construction. Zone list, I can see my zone list as well, so I can easily identify different areas, different zones. Any documents associated you'd be able to see. And then lastly, you can add a support note for the office. So if there was a question that came up not tied to the service ticket from the customer while your technician's on site, or something that they need to refer to the office to, they can quickly send a support note to the office for it to be handled. No need to call in, no need to stop their job, what they're doing. Simply send a support note. So let's, in this case, go ahead and complete our job, clock out for the day, and then generate our invoice. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to clock out as I'm done. 12:16. We'll click clock out. It'll jump back over for me to be clocked in. If I needed to clock in again, maybe I'm taking a break. But I can also click now complete. And it says, are you sure you want to complete this? Yes, I do. Now it is processing to let the office know, email when completed, that this service ticket has been completed on their end, as well as allow you to now generate the invoice for this customer. We'll go back up to our kebab on the right side. We'll go to invoice. I now see for ticket 114, Ross Construction for today, I'm generating an invoice. I can choose my billing option. We're going to leave it 100% in this case, but you have several different options to choose from depending on the scale of work that you're doing. I'm going to go ahead and click create. It says invoice created at the bottom. And now it has loaded that invoice for me to review in real time with the customer on site. So I can see my invoice number, ticket, account, a lot of the same information we've been talking about. But I can also see my different texts. So I can see there is a part, there is a battery, and there's my labor charges tied into me clocking in and clocking out. So 126 in labor charges. Total cost came out with no taxes. I never checked anything was taxable to $360. At this point, now that I've reviewed it with the customer, everything's okay. I can send them an email. It says attached is your Acme Alarms invoice. I can put any message I need to type in there, and it'll send them a PDF of that invoice. Then once that is all done, I can go to the Alarm Pay portal. I apologize, I'm not sure why that's not connecting.
I know why, Shay. We're using a 2-digit code PX, and that PX does not exist on our production in our production environment. So it won't launch alarm payments, but it's only because this is our development server.
Understood. Thank you. Thank you for the explanation. Normally it would load up, like I said, to alarmpayments.com that I'm sure most of you are very familiar with. It's the same site, just scaled down to mobile size. Now this one's all done, I can back out of the service ticket. You'll now see that it's been removed from my events for today, and now I can move on to the Regal Beagle. If I'm done for the day, I can go ahead and clock out. It'll say clocked out successfully. Now I've clocked out for the day. And since I'm all done with everything, I can go ahead and log out. And that, in a nutshell, is the Cornerstone mobile application. Simple, easy, but effective for your technicians out in the field.
Beautiful job, Shay. I've also got Jody here in case we get any really hard questions. So she's the one that can answer those. So Shay, if people have questions, they can type them into chat. We could also unmute. I think, is everybody muted?
I cannot by the way it is set up, so we'll have to do everything. Any questions have to go through chat, just because.
All right, that's fine. That's fine. I think we just had a question. See if I can figure out how to get there. All right. So the question from Scotty. Good morning, Scotty. Is can we see what the day looks like on the platform? So I think what he's asking is the big calendar. You can do it in the app, but do it in the app. Show the different views of the calendar to start.
So here's your just day view, your weekly view, so I can see different service appointments throughout the week, and then monthly is day by day. So I'd go in and click each day to see what's happening. The filter button's here. So if I wanted to go ahead and look for all my technicians, I can go ahead and click apply. And in my events here for the day, it'll show me different people. So I can see EM, SM, these are just different fictitious technician IDs, MC, ST. So I can see throughout the day which ones are going on today with a little bit of information. So I have a fire inspection, a Berg installation, an upgrade of their current system, annual elevator inspection. So I can see what my team's doing on here for the events for the day.
Yeah. So take the questions in order here. Hopefully that helps, Scotty, on the day view. There's also obviously the desktop view, the of the calendar, which is a completely different view for like the quarterback view, where you can see everybody. Question came in on seeing other text. Shea just showed you that. So if you're an owner or an admin, you can use that, through the app to look at other calendars, to look at other technician calendars. So
Or the debut.
yeah, with a day view, so you can see what's going on. If you got 4 techs, you can see what's going on with the 4 techs as an admin, not as the technician can't do that unless they have permissions to do that. Let's see here. Central station zones. In order to see the central station zones and accounts, do you need to have that as an ad for the interaction between the central station and Cornerstone for the app to be able to see that? You follow that?
Yeah, just if you go, Shea, open up one of the tickets.
Mhm.
So the central station, so there's a lot of information here. So click out the X first.
Sorry.
Let's just scroll down. So we do include central station ID numbers on here. So you can see the different information that is available. And you can see, keep going, service performed. So here you can see service histories, you can, service history. So if you now go to the 3 dots, the kebab, you can look at the zone list.
Zone list is 4th from the bottom.
This
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 one
same
doesn't have
I
any
have.
zones in it.
No
So-
zones, yeah.
Yeah, so if you have a central station integration and the zones are in here, then you'll be able to see the zones.
So Chris is asking, hopefully that helped. I think it was Shelley to ask the question. Been using the app with our techs. Is there an app that our admin or ops manager can log in to see all the techs? So there's the desktop, which has the quarterback view. In terms of an app that shows you that same quarterback view, you really don't have that here. I think the way you would view it is to look at what the weekly view or day view of the calendar.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
techs.
for all techs, it would be the desktop view. I mean, there's a RDP login, parallels login that you could look where you're going in, you're physically seeing what you would see if you're logging in on your computer. This app is really designed for, streamlined. What do you need to do? Where do you need to be? What do you need to take
Yeah.
with you?
So Chris, there's something called Jump Mobile, which is the older version of our mobile app. We think this is much better, and 95% of the needs for service techs in the field. But Jump Mobile does give you access to more the calendar view, more like the quarterback view, if they're out and about and they have, generally it's an iPad that works best, or tablet size device. Okay, question, can we assign 2 techs to 1 ticket?
Yes, so the desktop application allows you to sign up to 3 technicians per ticket. And so if you have jobs that are, so basically you would have whoever the primary technician would have the ticket attached to them. The other 2 technicians, it would appear, their event would appear as an appointment. And as soon as you open that appointment, you can look at the ticket. So yes, you can attach more. If you have bigger jobs where you have more technicians than just, 3 to assign it, we have the ability where you can create sub-tickets. So you could have you've got a big job, you've got a ticket for the pre-wire. You've got then another sub-ticket for, the rough, those kinds of things. And so you can assign different people at different times for each of those tickets. And the invoices all are, as you invoice for each of these points in time, you see that in the main ticket, everything that's been invoiced.
All right, here's a good question. Can the technician label zones during the install to forward to the monitoring station?
No, what we, this really is allowing the technician to see what is available. The central stations have their own mobile apps that are tailored, to all of their applications. And so the technician, in terms of setting up the zones and testing the zones, would use the central station app.
Okay, good question. All right, any others? Did we miss any? Let's see here.
So somebody said, is the integration necessary? An integration is necessary only if you want to have the zones, the information that exists at a central station available to the technician in our app. So if, let's say, there isn't an integration and your technician has the ticket, where they need to go, what parts do they need to take, if they're using the central station's mobile app, they would see the zones, et cetera, on that app. It just makes it nicer. The nice thing about an integration where you can pull in the zones for a particular customer is really on the upfront side for scheduling. So if you're doing, say, fire inspections and you're looking at the zones, is it going to take an hour or is it going to take a full day given the complexity of that particular fire installation?
Yeah. Okay. From Barbara and Suzanne, our West Coast friends, is the desktop version included in Cornerstone or is it different? So the desktop that we're talking about is really what you log into typically from for the admin team. So when they log into Cornerstone, they get the desktop view.
That's what you're using now, basically.
Yeah, but the availability of the calendar and service tickets, et cetera, that what we call a service module is optional. So some of I think for you folks, that's no longer included. I don't believe you use that, but basically it's an option. We can switch it on if you choose to use that. And if you use that, obviously, and schedule appointments there, then you can use the mobile app to then handle those appointments, close those appointments. So hopefully that answers your question. Any others? Not seeing any. All right, so we're through our half an hour. Thank you to everybody who invested some time. Hopefully you like what you saw. We're happy to do one-on-one demos with you of this app. If you want to play with it, we can do that. But it's, as you saw, it's pretty intuitive. It's pretty easy to use. The whole idea is get rid of paper, use the app to, let the tech do their work, close out the tickets, bill the customer, and heaven forbid get paid on the spot, as most technical folks do these days. So please follow up with us. Either call customer support, call Jody or myself, and we'll answer any other questions. And if you're interested in this, we'll help you get it set up. Thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.
All right.